Welcome, folks. Here we go. Yet another Desert Vibes podcast. I'm Glenn Gardner.
I'm Walt Richardson.
I'm Jamie Ray.
And this is Desert Vibes. And Jamie Ray, gonna hand it on over to you to get us started with those two folks who are loitering in the right-hand corner of your screen.
These two beautiful folks. We've got George and Georgia here today with us. Thank you all for being part of this. We really looking forward to having this interview and excited to have you all on. So I do have a few questions, and Walt and Glenn are going to chime in a little bit too. But I want to know personally, how did the two of you first start making music together?
Well, I'll start. I was playing at a bourbon bar in Denver, and I had been gigging there for a couple of years. And one night, this lady walks in, sits down at a table right near me, and I'm playing a solo acoustic guitar, and she starts singing, and she's harmonizing with every song I'm doing.
Oh, I
And,
love it.
and so I go, "Come on up here." And so she did, and we sang together, and I thought it was really cool, and I thought it sounded great. And so I go, "Come next week." And so she did. And and then come next week. So it was, yeah, before, so then I go, I'll get you a microphone because, she didn't want to be,
We
yeah,
shared a microphone for the first few
yeah.
weeks, and then
So,
he got me
Oh,
so
a microphone stand.
yeah, I got a stand and all of that stuff. And then I
So I
thought,
started costing him money like right
yeah.
away.
And then I thought it'd be nice if I got her a stool. So I got her a stool too, a really nice stool. And we sang together there for, I don't know,
Couple of
like
years.
a year or so. But yeah, it's hearing her singing her harmony. And she's a natural. It's like instant harmony. It just elevated my music, and so I went from a solo guy to, I think she just elevated the music with the harmony and the fact that, and we never practiced, you know.
ah,
She would come, every week. It was a Thursday night. She'd come back from work. She'd fly somewhere and come back, and she'd missed the first set. So then we would do two sets because I always played three sets, and then she would do the last two sets with me,
We
and
never practiced.
we never.
wow.
She was gone, and so I would just say, "Let's do this or let's do that. Let's do some Beatles or Rolling Stones," and she knew the words and would just sing. So that's my version of the story.
Well, I love that version. That's awesome.
Well, you have a few questions, don't you, Jamie?
I do, but I didn't
Yeah.
know if you wanted to chime in on that one because
Oh, I have some questions.
you said they were in Denver, and I know you're all about how did you get to Arizona?
Oh, yeah, that's one of my questions there. Well, why don't we go ahead and start off with this? What brought you to Arizona?
The spirituality. I knew that that's what Walt wanted to hear, so I'm
Yeah,
saying it.
I was gonna say what spirit?
Yeah,
We shared.
it's some whiskey, I guess.
Whiskey, distilled.
I always wanted to live in Denver. My first time here was in
You mean
1990.
Phoenix? We live in
Phoenix, I'm
Phoenix.
sorry, Phoenix. It was 1992. I came here for a convention, and when I got off the plane, just the airport was really cool back then. And driving around town, it was like, man, this is a really cool place. And I love the desert. And I had always been fascinated with Carlos Castaneda uh,
Mm.
and the teachings of Don Juan, and, with the Sonoran Desert and just the mystical part of it. But, the attraction was the desert and just the Indian lore, I guess.
Mm.
And I always thought I would love to live here. The desert was just super appealing. And so then I chased Georgia, who had moved to Austin.
Oh,
And so I chased her there. And moved in with her there. And then Georgia take over this part.
So he mentioned to me at some point that he really wanted to live in Phoenix, and I had only been through the airport, like coming from a ski trip or something at one point in time. So I my job had an opportunity to move to Phoenix. I applied for a coworker's position who had left, and I got the job, and I could live either in Southern California, LA, or here. And so we picked here. They moved us here, and the rest is history. We're here.
You
Wow.
know, I have a follow-up question. So, George, you mentioned Carlos Castanedas.
Mm.
Yes.
So, in 72, well, let's say in 72 to 74, I was at Pensacola Junior College. And there were several books that just kind of like broke it open for me. And Carlos Castanedas was one of those books that I read. I don't know if it was this Separate Reality or something like that. And that's how I ended up in Arizona. Was
Wow.
that same book? You know, his studies with the Yaqui
Yeah.
Indian way, and it turns out that when I got here to Arizona and I graduated ASU, I ended up moving into this neighborhood that I'm still here now, which is just right down the street from that the Yaqui Indians over there in Guadalupe. And
Be
but
cool.
earlier, and in my early days of playing music, he was coming back and forth to ASU, giving lectures and everything. And there was a cool party, a whole bunch of hippies, and all of us hanging out. You know, I call myself a hippie, I guess, at that time. And he was at the party. I didn't talk. I didn't talk with him, but he was there
Mm.
hanging out with. And I saw him in the corner, and it was just this really uh, interesting energy. But when you said that, I go, man, we came here with almost on the same vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
cool.
really
Cool.
cool. And
Are you
Carlos,
guys are you guys all done with your shroom love now, or can we move on off the
Well,
psilocybin, or
uh, look here,
Uh,
we had some Tootsie Rolls for you, Glenn.
uh-huh, uh-huh. I'm just saying, I read those books too, so I know what they were all about.
That's cool. I think about them to
Anyway,
this day. Yeah.
I've wondered this because I have never been a musical partner with my life partner. And it's like I never worked for my dad or anything like that, just because I was always concerned about, just that aspect. I could see where it would be an amazing thing, but on the other hand, could be pretty challenging. So I'd be really interested to know from both of you guys, being life partners and being musical partners, how does that work? I mean, I see the end result. I think it works incredibly well musically, and you seem like pretty happy people. But how does that dynamic work for you guys?
go ahead. Oh, how does it work for you?
Well, so it was challenging at first. I think we were just kind of thrown together. We kind of moved in during pandemic, and we started playing music, and we really weren't playing out. We weren't life partners when we were playing together in Denver. Um, and then, since moving here more recently, I think is when we started playing out since 2001. And I think the interesting dynamic is that, we're really good in many aspects. It's rehearsal time that can be a challenge. And we actually do rehearse now. But George he's so specific in what he likes in his music, and he's so meticulous in how he plays. He expects perfection, and I'm not necessarily a perfectionist in many ways. And I'm kind of new with playing bass and that kind of thing. So I'm really good with the vocal part, but bringing in new instruments and that kinds of things can be challenging. One other thing is that George has a tendency to like to change what we've already arranged. So, I might be used to playing
Uh-oh.
something a certain way, and then suddenly, oh, we're not doing it that way. And my brain sometimes doesn't work that way, but we work it through. I think it's just trying to be patient with each other. But in the long run, it's really fun. We're having a great time, and I think that's what counts.
So George is the one who after the furniture set, comes in and moves the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
the wall, the paintings on the walls, like we can't put anything up until we get approval.
And I walk around with a level to make sure the kids don't get.
So there is an interesting dynamic that just happened recently where we had at the open mic night we had just George,
Mm.
and you should have heard the rumors flying around. What happened? Whoa. Is he? I don't know. I'm just introducing it. Just George. I wrote. That's how he signed up, and la la. The whole
I know
night. That's what.
when
Yeah,
Walt told me
it's
it
hard.
was George, I got nervous. I thought, wait a minute, we're both supposed to be here today.
It's hard to when George just started teaching Pilates, and in the evenings when we would go do open mics, and we've gotten pretty busy. We're gigging uh, a bit now,
We have 11
but
gigs in October,
but
which is kind of cool.
so yeah, but the open mics, I'll show up and it'll be just George, and I think it was Glenn, somebody who put that label on instead of
That sounds like something
George.
I would
When I
say.
started playing before George showed up, there's a big sign that said George. And so I was the guy that played, and then when Georgia showed up, it was like, well, George and Georgia, and but doing open mics at first, after I got used to having somebody harmonize with me, it's like when you're playing with another guitar player that's always there and they play with you and they don't show up. It's really hard to carry through a song because you're so used to presenting a bigger picture
Hmm.
with either another instrument, the voice being another one. And when it's not there, I feel like I'm not really bringing out everything I want to in a piece of music. And and it's hard even with a duo when we're playing. It's like in my head, I hear all kinds of other things that instruments that should be going,
Mm.
and they're not there.
It's funny
And
because in my head, I'm usually just hearing self doubt, and
Uh,
For other
you know,
constantly,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you
you know
suck, you
that's
suck, you suck, you suck.
yeah.
Quit.
I turned that up in the PA system so that everybody hears.
I heard that last night, loud and clear.
So, George, what you just said is something that's very interesting in terms of performance. Uh, we hear so many things in our head, and having hosted as many open mic nights, I can tell when a musician is up there and is used to hearing other things. There's a
Mm.
certain way they deliver their songs, and I can tell the ones who have never had anybody perform along with them. And then there's the ones that know how to adjust the songs so that you don't miss the other person. So they'll present the tune in a different way that when they're with other people, they've worked out an arrangement. But when they're by themselves, you get a chance to hear how the song might have originated and how the person feels in terms of how they express themselves. So you did a good job out there, and it's kind of tough because we were outside on that patio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to mix out there. But you got up there and did it, and did your thing like you normally do. And I was thinking to myself, oh, this is what he was like when he was solo.
Yeah.
Good thing he's got a duo now. I'm joking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
I had to get that
I
in. It was
keep
itching.
hearing that.
You had to
You
do a
know,
dig,
Yeah.
one dig.
Thanks, thanks.
I think I feel like there has to be a woman behind every great man. So that's just what it sounds like to me.
Hey,
Keith's going back and
Jamie,
forth.
back up.
What?
This is a whole different podcast. Okay, it depends on how far behind that woman's backing up. Mine is in another universe,
Why
so
don't we even try
I get
these
in my way a
things
lot of
all the
times.
time?
Beep, 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 beep.
Okay,
Mine's
I want to ask a question here because we keep talking about instruments and voice is an instrument also. What instruments do you both all play? Do you play more than just the guitar? What instruments do you all play?
Well, I play guitar. Um, I grew up playing piano. I started playing piano when I was 7, and hard to
Oh,
believe. I studied at a conservatory. I played classical music.
mm,
My minor in college was piano. Um,
wow.
but I always improvised when I would come to my lessons. I'd have two versions. I'd have the one that I was assigned to play, and then I'd go, I think Mozart would have liked it like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say this is probably a little more contemporary feel. And none of my teachers liked it at all. It would go dead. And, it's like, and I'd get scolded. And not in college did I have a teacher who finally understood that. So piano was a big part of it. And I liked the more jazzier approach to
Mm,
music. And in fact, I think my approach is like a jazz musician would be, and I don't play jazz the way it's traditionally played. The jazz comes from the approach, and I love
mhm,
to improvise, and I like changes, and I like spontaneity, and I like working with people who are creative on the spot.
You
And
yeah.
so that's sort of been my thing. So I play piano. I taught myself guitar my parents would not buy me a guitar. The Beatles happened. I got excited and I wanted to play guitar. My mother thought that music, rock and roll, was the music of the devil and would not let me get a guitar. So I had to sneak a guitar and play one on the side. And so you could tell my technique, and I never had a lesson. So my technique's pretty rough. And I kind of invent my own approach to chording and things like that. But piano and guitar. And in fact, lately we've been talking about getting a piano. I made recordings several years ago by myself with a piano, a digital piano, and played all the parts, the drums, the bass, and the strings and things like that. And uh, but I'm thinking about maybe adding that back into what we do. But those are my two instruments. And when I play guitar, I can't see guitar chords. When somebody tells me a chord, I see it on a piano first in my head.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
wow.
I come from, a keyboard background, and to me, guitar
Yeah.
is incredibly a difficult instrument geographically to play because you have too many choices on notes. The
Mm,
same note, it has a slightly different timbre, but so it's hard for me to play guitar. But I like the guitar, and
Yeah.
it really speaks to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
mm.
and it's just nice to have an instrument you can wrap around and start doing things with. So
So
and I used to play flute, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Um, so those are my primary instruments there.
I same for me. I started as a vocalist. I think the best instrument I play is the tambourine.
we've had discussions about that.
Walt was there when we witnessed it.
It's bad. No, no, I play a little bit of guitar, but I only play with him. I play bass. I know four chords on the G harmonica,
Of
and
course, yeah.
yeah, four notes.
Notes.
And then I've been playing the shaker a little bit, and I can
Oh,
keep rhythm on
cool.
that roll.
Yeah, you do. You do a great
Last
job.
night we did a gig and I gave Georgia a maraca solo.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
I
And
love
Very
it.
interesting.
how many people can do a maraca solo?
No,
Right. No.
I
it's
can.
Did anyone get up and go to the bathroom during that part, or
It was funny. The
we
room,
cleared the room.
we cleared it. Yeah. Where'd everybody go?
So there will be a day when we're going to see you come up there with a keyboard. With a keyboard?
It could be,
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
could be.
Yeah.
I haven't touched one in a long time, but I like noodling on piano.
Yeah.
Well, and I
That'd
had a
be.
bass lesson the other day, and the person that gave me the lesson actually taught me how to read the music on a keyboard and
Mm,
transpose and figure out what you're doing. So I need to kind of lean into that and learn a little bit more theory rather than just kind of bouncing around doing one fives all the time.
One Fives get has made a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah.
Serious. So you guys blend so well when you're playing together.
Thank you.
Your tempo and everything. It's wonderful. Yeah. So
You guys do. That's when I met you at an open mic at the Chill Room in Tempe
Yeah.
a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
I fell in love, literally in love. I just was in awe. And then I think B Graves got up with you that night
Ian
Yeah,
too.
Odie, that was that night?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the most amazing open mic I have been to in a long time. It was just amazing. I've been in love with you ever since. So I think your
Thank
sound
you.
is great. I love it. I love
Thank
it. And with that said, how do you describe your sound? Like I know you do covers and you have some originals also, correct? So
you.
how would you describe your sound to
Uh,
people
that,
that don't know what you play?
I would say that we have a folky edge to our music. Um, and we have it's kind of like we have a soft edge. We're not a hard edge. And the approach to the music now with Georgia being with me is more about the harmonic uh, uh, structure of the song because I really like the harmony and if a song just has a solo, we start oohing in harmony. We just look for places where we can stick that in there because we really enjoy it and people seem to like it and it just comes real easily. So we like to do that. But it's really hard to, we people ask us all the time, what kind of music do you do? And Georgia, somebody asked us that with this weekend when we were gigging, they go, what kind of music do you do? And she goes, I'll ask you at the end of the night. You tell us what we do,
Yeah.
because we kind of cover a lot of, yeah,
A lot of time territory, a lot of Americana kind of music.
Hmm.
Anything, if you think from 50s music up to 90s music,
oh,
probably.
even earlier. I mean, because I grew up hearing folk music, which I really liked, and the folk music came out of the blues. And I grew up in Chicago, and I started out playing blues, and mostly because, and this is probably this will explain our music in a way. The other day, a friend heard the way we did a song, and he goes, "You do it so weird." And he goes, I do the same song, and he goes, you do it really weird, and my
So
biggest
maybe it's weird is what we're called.
so my biggest influence, the first band I ever saw was the Yardbirds, and it had
Okay.
Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page. Jimmy Page played
Hmm.
bass on that tour. At the end of the tour, he and Jeff Beck were both playing guitar, and their rhythm guitar player, Chris Dresha, started playing bass. But it was that British approach to the blues, because it was fresh, and they're also their approach to a lot of rock and roll, and they took songs and made them different,
Hmm.
and that inspired me, and that's kind of like what I do when I take a song and cover it. That's my inspiration. That's what I grew up. I grew up hearing a different take on a song you were familiar with. With the blues, they would rock it up and they would take popular songs and blues them up. And so I would, and that's my inspiration. So when I hear a song, I want to do what I think can be done with it. And to me, I don't think in terms of staying so true to the song. I want the
Hmm.
essence, I want the words to be there. I want people to get the same message out of it. And I want some of the notes to be the same so people go, oh, yeah, I recognize that.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to, and I think it was that heavy influence of the blues and the way the British approached rock and roll that changed my life. And so, so what kind of music do we do? Georgia, what do we do?
All
Well, the
kinds.
night I heard you all, I don't remember the song, but I thought I was deep in the holler in Kentucky, and I love folk and country and bluegrass. So I was in love. That's all I can say. I'm still in love with your
Okay.
sound.
I
Well,
I have uh, I have two questions. Um, do you remember the first song you ever learned?
yeah, for me,
Yeah.
yeah, the first song I learned on guitar, I bought a book and it was called "Oh, Where Have You Been, Billy Boy?"
Oh my God.
It's the first song I learned on guitar. Yes, I can learn. Yeah. So, and then I heard Paul Simon playing, Sounds of Silence,
Yeah.
and it
I
was
love
like,
that song.
ah,
Yeah.
so I liked that kind of stuff.
So, do you write your own music?
I do. I used to write a lot. In fact, that was all the yeah, early on, every band I was in, I would convert them over to my music, and
Hmm.
I did a lot of originals. Um, I shy from playing a lot of originals now. I'm not sure what's holding me back, but I sit down and chords and ideas, melodies come into my head, and I just feel we have such a rich community of music here in the Phoenix area. The
Yeah.
people are so talented and a really deep bench of musicians. So, and I think I'm just probably intimidated by what I hear. But I used to give friends, this would be 5 years ago, maybe longer, 8 years ago, I think, before Georgia. I would make tapes, and that's what I gave people. It would be like albums of cassette tapes of my music. And I used to do a lot of that. And people would say, "Oh, yeah, that was pretty cool," and all of that. But I just don't have that confidence to do and it's hard. Like on piano, I can do it. I can show everybody the parts because you're playing the bass lines and everything at the same time. But I find it really hard to do it on the guitar. I need a tape recorder so I can record parts, and so
Okay.
it's
So
really
I'm
hard.
I'm gonna put a challenge to you.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Sometime soon, the next few open mic nights, not later down the years and all that once upon a time stuff. Uh, I'd like to hear a couple of. I'd like to hear a set of original music.
Okay, we could do that.
Good.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've heard a couple of Georgia songs, and
Then is it a good idea? What I'm asking.
no, it's a horrid, it's a horrid
Like
idea.
going down.
Unless he's on psilocybin, then it's
Be
okay.
kind, be kind.
But no, no, his songs actually are as you would expect, because one of the things that I love about George and Georgia are, George has some of the most incredible and unusual chord voicings that I've heard, really. And George and I have talked, and we play in song circles sometimes and whatnot. And George is really like a human metronome. That's the other thing. I mean, his sense of timing is like, spot right on. Whereas, I'm wandering all over the place and whatnot. But and I think Georgia does the same thing vocally, which is, I think, one of the reasons why you guys work so well together. Your chord voicings are amazing, and George's harmonic voicings are kind of equivalent to what you're doing on the guitar, which is, a very unusual kind of duo thing. But do you sit down, George, when you pick a cover, let's say, that you're going to do? And when I say covers, I'm using the term really loosely for these guys, because when they do a cover, there's certainly a thread of the song as it was written and recorded in there, but you got your stamp, both of you guys, all over that thing. So how do you approach that when you sit down, like with a Gold Dust Woman, or one of the Zeppelin tunes you do? Do you start with the original? Do you say, I got a better idea? Do you look at different voicings? How do you get to that place where you guys are at?
Well, that's a good question. A lot of times I'll be strumming the guitar and I'll hear, move my fingers, and go, I don't like that chord. What if I did this? And I'd hear something, I go, oh, that's Gold Dust Woman. And,
Mm.
and then I would just that little bit, I could develop an entire song around that. It inspires the chordal harmony, the chord, the notes in the chord, and how they blend together. I can hear possibilities, and I go with that. Just we're changing. We've done a Gillian Welch song called "One More Dollar" for a while, and when I started adding in into the Mystic as part of one of our songs, they sounded too much alike. I was doing the same thing in them, and I thought that's kind of boring. I don't want to put those songs too close together. So just last week, I started playing with the chords on One More Dollar, and I thought I want to change what I do. There was a conscious effort, and I realized that a little different shape changed the sound and really softened up the song. And
Mm.
so then I was able to develop a whole new idea with the song. So we're kind of working on that. But a lot of times it comes from just a chord or a sound of a chord.
Mm.
And Glenn, I think you do the same thing because listening to your take on songs, I mean, you're a chord guy too. And I know you probably have a very similar approach. So, that's sort of like, but this, um, and sometimes I try to stick to a song.
But do you know in your head, George, when you're looking at the song, do you know that if you're up 6 frets and your fingers are in this particular position, it's an E minor seventh sus4, or is it's just where your hands go?
For years, I knew where my hands went, and I had no idea what I was playing. If people asked me, I'd have to count frets and all of that. Now I'm getting a better feel, and my vocabulary, my chord vocabulary, I know the names of the things I'm doing, and so I kind of like that. And I'll listen, like we're doing "Girl from Ipanema," and like the chords, and they're really cool because I used to play like this. I don't want to get technical, but I used to play like a major seven chord, and it never sounded right. And I'd move around. I found the chord. I go, "What the hell is this thing called?" And so and I have a reverse chord app,
Yeah,
and I was so that I go, "What am I playing?"
very handy.
Yeah, I do that, and it's like, oh, and it can be called all these different things. So.
So,
Uh,
yeah, and Georgia, how do you play off of
Mm.
that when you're putting the kind of those harmony parts in? Because they are really laid in there. One thing about both of you guys that I really appreciate when I'm listening to your music is what you leave out.
Mm.
Yeah, well, let me just add on to what he started with here, because I get to listen to him. I especially when I was working from home, I could hear him start noodling with songs. He's so curious. He'll get on YouTube and start finding different versions of songs, and then he'll piece together the pieces he likes and put that song together, and I'll hear him practice for hours. He'll practice the same riff for hours. I mean, just to get it perfect. Um, One of the things that George taught me over time, specifically when we were playing together in Denver, um, is that I'm there to make him sound better. That's what I'm there for. So I try to add in the harmonies to make the song full. There may be a whole lot of other things that happen in that song in the recorded version or whatever you hear. But really, what you want to add is just what makes that song whole in that moment.
yeah.
Um, and so that's all I try to add on. And I try to add on, if I hear all the harmony parts, like I want to hit them all, like in my dreams, I can sing all the harmony parts. But I try to
You
pick
do
the,
that in the car.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Mm.
were you there listening? Um, but I think I try to pick the one that vocally sounds the best, and two that harmonizes best with him. And I hear a lot of other people come and they'll come up to us at the end of the night and they'll say, "I was singing with you on that song. I was singing that third or whatever it was."
Yeah, we get that a lot.
I
When
do.
people go, yeah, like at the chill room, these guys that shred. I remember when, I thought, these guys are totally not into our music. And they came up to us and they go, we were singing harmony with you. It's like, what? So it's kind of cool because, and that's kind of like what Glenn was saying about the things that are left out.
Leaving space.
People can
Right.
find a thing that they can add to it, and a lot of people actually sing along.
Mm.
And people, I changed songs quite a bit, and I remember one day somebody was saying, I was singing along, I had no idea what the song was, and then I realized I knew all the words.
That's a good thing. But
Yep.
Walt, you got anything?
Yes, I have. Shoot, man, I got a million questions, and we can be here all day. Okay, okay. So I'm going to go back to both of you can answer this question. So, what was your favorite performer, or who's your favorite performer slash singer songwriter?
Georgia.
You're supposed to say Walt Richardson now.
That's right. That was
You
a
see
gimme,
this-
wasn't it?
The person's holding up the sign over there.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, come on. Let me hear.
Totally messed that one up.
Yeah, that's all right.
Can we start that one again?
We'd like to go ahead and end this interview now. Thank you very much for being here, whoever you guys are. And Glenn, when are we going fishing?
Right.
Change the subject.
I do my fishing at Fry's.
Okay, then Jamie Ray, where do you fish? Is there
Sunrise Lake.
is there
Sunrise
a, is there a creek? Is there a creek in Queen Creek?
Yeah, actually.
No water in it, but there's one.
The water in the thing.
Who put the creek in Queen Creek? That's a new song.
I'm going to start writing that.
Arizona's the only place where they named the rivers before water was flowing in it. I never crossed so many dry rivers in my life.
Ever.
Where's
Big-
it's blue on the map, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how they did. Okay,
So I am primarily a vocalist, and I think one of my biggest influences, and Glenn, you got to witness this the other night at the open mic, is the Indigo Girls.
Mm.
And I spent, I mean, literally hours commuting to and from work with that, playing that tape over and over and over again, listening to every harmony, every nuance. So that just in case one day if someone came up and said, "Do you know an Indigo Girls song?" I know which side, which harmony do you want me to do?
right.
So for me, that was a huge influence. I grew up in choirs and all of that in school, so trying to learn those different parts was kind of natural to me. And then vocalists that I like to emulate, I think more than anything, would be Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, Bonnie Raitt in many ways. Though I'll never live up to either of those, I do my best. And then just kind of any harmony that I can pick out are the things that I love. But that's just a tip of the iceberg of all the musicians that I love.
Yeah. And I already named, I loved Led Zeppelin when they came out. And the thing the heavy music was really pretty cool, but I loved their acoustic music.
Yeah.
And that when we perform and do we tell everyone we're going to do Led Zeppelin, and they look like you're going to do Led Zeppelin, and it's like, but we picked the acoustic stuff, and I saw them on their very last tour, and they did a 45-minute acoustic set that just blew my mind. And I just think, and that kind of and so there was that Celtic bluesy influence, and people like Fairport Convention and all of that took off with music like that. And I always liked the folk stuff music, but with an edge to it. And so versus just folky songs, I always liked a little bit of an edge in it. And
I
that's
know you're a huge fan of Wagon Wheel. You guys oftentimes understand
Wagon, yeah. Well,
Rock me, baby.
it was the song we had to learn, because everybody did it. Yeah, and we soon learned that everybody did it.
Well, that was House of the Rising Sun for
Oh,
one
That's
generation.
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody had to learn. And Gloria, remember Gloria?
Oh,
Oh,
jeez,
Everybody
yeah.
yeah.
had to be able to play that song. Yeah, songs you love
yeah,
to hate, to love, to hate, to love to hate.
yeah.
So,
It comes and
Stairway to
goes.
Heaven. How many times
you're
did you
right.
hear that on the radio? When you
Right. The other night, I sat down to see if I could remember those chords, and it took me a second because I was rifling through some memory back there, way, way back there, and I
Mm.
finally found it. And I go, "Oh my god! Uh oh, okay, this interview's over."
It-
But I,
We're done now. Glenn's taking over.
that's
there
it.
you go.
That's it.
yeah, I used to play it on
Love
classical
it.
guitar, but I would finger pick it.
Oh,
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Georgia, where are you from? Where were you born?
I was born in Maryland.
In Maryland.
Mm.
And where were you born, George?
Germany.
Germany. Was your
Wow.
father in the service,
Well,
or
not
were
with
you guys just
not with
lost?
the U.S. Army.
Uh oh,
My father was
German,
he was a
German.
prisoner of war.
Oh,
So I'm Ukrainian, and my father was born in the Ukraine, and the Russians came in and said, "You're now a Russian soldier," and so
Mm.
he went out there, he was captured, spent a little time in a uh, prison camp, and when he was released, he stayed in Germany, and that's when he met my mom. And so I was born there, and I lived there till I was 2, so I don't remember anything about it. But
Wow.
and then they came. They
yeah, we headed to
my,
Chicago.
okay.
I was
Good
born in a
old times.
hospital. I wanted to be near my mother.
Golly, golly, that just
What is
hurt our
going on
Boom!
that just
today?
hurt our
Oh,
that just hurt our ratings.
Has anybody got a mute button?
That's my
I
job.
know, right?
Glenn's in control of the mute button.
Oh,
Right? Yeah,
shoot.
he is, but there's a way you can cut that picture out, and it should
Oh,
be 3 frames instead of 4 when he gets to that part. There, see, that's what I'm saying. That works real good,
I actually like the stock picture better than the real
right?
thing, but
That haircut in that stock picture is it all?
pretty special.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have to turn this into a comedy show because that's all what happens every time.
Well,
Okay, so
I
you
was just going to ask you both of you guys because we're running short on time, but either one of you guys have anything else for George and Georgia? Or?
yeah, I do. I would like their take on the overall music scene in the state of Arizona.
And
Oh,
along with that, tell us your favorite venue that you play at. You
okay.
like to play, or you don't even have to have played there, just your favorite venue.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm incredibly impressed with the uh, music here in Phoenix. Um, when we moved from Austin to Phoenix, I thought, well, there goes the music,
Mm.
because you just don't hear anything about what's going on musically.
Mhm.
And when we went to a pizza place after we moved here, we went to a pizza place, and I saw a stool with a guitar. And I go, you guys have music here? And they go, yeah, every Wednesday, we have an open mic. And so we went to the open mic, and wow, there's some pretty good players here, and then because we were new, some people became really friendly. And where are you guys from? And they go, have you gone here or there? I go, we don't know anything. And so people told us, and we checked out everything, every open mic. And I everywhere people were so good. You get it across the board. You get beginners and all of this stuff, but you get a lot of high end players here, and that was really impressive. And it sort of made me like feel like, okay, we got to buckle down if we're going to play around these people. I want to sound good, because I thought we did some pretty cool stuff, but it was like it really helped. I think raising the bar and forcing you to play better. So and the other thing is there's a lot of people that professional musicians, studio people that retire and come here, and they're still young, you know, and they play, and it's like these people can play circles around a lot of people, and they still hang out, and you know, we've been fortunate. We got to play with a Nashville guy, written songs. I had some Grammy nominations and all of this stuff, and he'd come over to the house and we'd play together and we'd go do a gig together. So, and these people are incredible and every genre of music. So it's like, you can find from classical music, jazz, and blues, rock, the folk, the Americana scene. It's all here. And so it's very, very impressive. And it's sort of like when we have free time, well, where do we go?
Yeah.
It's the choices are just
Yeah.
crazy. And we always want to go see Walt Richardson.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Good
Good
answer.
answer. Hey, we'll keep this segment.
Well,
We can take care of that in
art of
post-production.
holding.
Yeah, and we actually were talking the other day about places that we really, really like to
oh yeah,
play.
yeah.
And there's a couple of places that we like. One is up in Camp Verde. They have at the library. And when we first went up there, we were surprised how many people showed up that didn't play. People just showed up to listen.
They have
Yeah.
they have an open mic there on Monday nights at the Camp Verde Library.
Yeah,
And then they do two featured acts in the month. They do a singer-songwriter in the round, and then they do music in the stacks. And we've performed a few times
we've done.
at the
Yeah,
music in the stacks.
Yeah.
We're playing there in October.
yeah.
The next is on a Thursday, I
Yeah.
think.
So, but yeah, and it's a great venue. What we like about it, what I like about it, is people show up to listen, and they're incredibly appreciative, and they hang out and talk to you afterwards,
Mm.
and you just feel like everything you've done was worth it because everybody
Yeah.
responds so favorably up there. And so we play a lot of wine bars, which yeah, and people are there to eat, and
Mm.
drink
And socialize,
and
yeah.
socialize, and so you don't get. Although people say, "Oh yeah, you guys are great," and all of that, but it doesn't feel the same as when people sit there and listen to and watch
Mhm.
everything you're doing.
Mhm.
And when you get a room of 40 people that show up, it feels really, really good to play there.
And
And,
that happens here in
yeah,
the Valley as well. So the library venues here in the Valley are amazing.
and
Peoria Library, the Glendale Library have those
and
venues that the coffee house.
yeah,
Um,
but Peoria is probably one because it's smaller,
Mm.
a smaller venue. That library is, and the sound is, you don't even need to
Yeah.
use a PA in that room.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sound so good. The first time we played there, we brought our PA and realized we didn't have to really turn up very loud, but we liked using it. We're comfortable with that, and that's probably another one where it's the same thing. And when we play there, we see friends show up, and got a lot of friends that are busy themselves. A lot of musicians, and it feels really good to be in a place where they show their appreciation by showing up and staying, hanging out for a little bit. So, those two for us have been some of our favorite places. Would
Cool.
you say, Georgia?
yeah, and then I guess to embellish a little bit on the music community here in Phoenix, I have to tell you that within, I would say, the first 6 months of that very first open mic that we went to, we had met, I would say, over 100 people
Mm.
in this community, and that was the tip of the iceberg. I feel like this music community is so open and wonderful and accepting. It's like a family. It's like a big, huge family. And
Mhm.
everywhere you go, you'll see someone you saw someplace else, and you think, "Oh, this is worlds colliding," but everyone knows everyone, you know. it's just incredibly accepting and loving, and I've never experienced a community like this anywhere, musical or not. It's just amazing. I know we have lifelong friends now, um, and it's just it's really happy. It's our happy place.
Yeah, when I remember living in Denver and I was uh, playing blues and Walt. I was a funk guitar player.
Okay.
I played in a nine-piece band. I was their funk guitar player. Uh,
Right.
They had a pretty good, the blues community and the rhythm and blues community was really pretty cool. And I got to be and I hanging out with musicians was really cool. Here, this is definitely, I think, a level up because all of our friends, I would say 99% of the people we know are musicians. Our friends are musicians. And when we get together, the coolest thing is when we have dinner or anything like that, guitars show up,
Yeah.
people jam. And how do you beat that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I've experienced ever since I've been here, and it never ends. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm
it
still
never
meeting
ends.
new people like every
Yeah.
day, meeting new people. It's
Well,
crazy. And I'm like, there can't be any more.
another thing you'll probably notice after a while is how people circle back after they feel like, oh, I'm going to go out there and get into this other scene and do all these things and everything, and then all of a sudden they circle back a year later, and they're saying, it feels good to be back in the desert and playing gigs. First thing people ask them is, "Are you playing gigs anywhere?" And he's,
Yeah.
working on that. Um, this is wonderful. This has been a wonderful interview with the two of you, and we certainly hope that your fans get a chance to learn. I've had the opportunity by this podcast to learn a little bit more about you. And where can they go to find your schedules? Do you have a website or?
Yes, we do. Thank you for asking.
Mhm.
GeorgeandGeorgiamusic.com, all spelled out. GeorgeandGeorgiamusic.com. I have links to our YouTube channel on there. I have links to our Facebook page there. You can sign up for a monthly newsletter I send out every month. And also send out a fun musical fact if you'd like to just sign up for that.
Good.
Um, I will say we've got a couple of really cool things coming up this month. So
Cool.
we are playing. I'm going to check my calendar. I'm going to be
We're
rude and look at my
playing the
calendar.
state fair
State Fair
next
tonight.
4 days.
We're at the State Fair tonight and the next 4 days at the Hangout stage. Um, and then we play the North Mountain Brewery. Glenn Gardner is the host there of the showcase on Saturdays from 3 to 5, and we're playing on the 18th of October with Mark Bishop Evans.
Quench on the 17th.
I'm kind of skipping those
Okay.
things. I'm
Okay.
just hitting the highlights here. And then we also play, there's a fundraiser at the North Mountain um, Visitor Center. We played the 19th, but that goes on all weekend. It starts on the 17th. There's an open mic night on the 17th at night. And then there's a bunch of great acts playing all weekend. We donated as part of that an hour and a half private gig. So you can come and donate for that as a silent auction item. And I understand that a bunch of other musicians have done the same thing.
Yeah.
So that could be really cool.
I did, but I'm going to charge them actually for not showing up.
God.
I'm taking donations for, how much do you have to pay for me not to come to your house?
Reverse
Bidding
the
is going wild, wild,
tick, 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 tick up.
wild.
Wild.
Well, this,
Yeah, we update our website. Everything is up there of where we're going to be and where we're going to be playing. But
And this is really pretty cool. I think what you guys are doing here
thank you so
is
much.
really pretty awesome. And
Thank you.
and again, here we are hanging out with you musicians. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's pretty special and pretty cool. And I feel honored to be part of this group.
Well, really
Yeah, we're
appreciate you
humbled
guys.
to join you guys today. Thank you
Appreciate
so
you guys
much.
coming
Thank you.
by, and we're
Thank
having
you
a
for.
blast doing this. And
Yeah.
we always learn a bunch about people we thought we knew a
Mhm.
bunch about, and we end up
Yeah.
learning a ton more like
Well, all
today.
we do is
So
get together and play music, right? And then we
that's
That's
don't
it.
it. That's how
That's
we
it.
talk.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's
Well,
it.
thank you guys so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you coming by.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I know we'll see you on the road
Amy Ray,
here
thank you.
real soon. Thank you guys so much. George and
Georgia.
Georgia.
He's
See you
George.
Bye.
guys.
I'm
Yeah.
Georgia.
Bye.
See you later, guys.
Thank you guys.
That was great.
That was great. That was great.
They are awesome.
Yeah, yeah. If you haven't had the opportunity to go out and check out one of their gigs, you should, because it's really special stuff.
For sure.
They got the secret sauce, I'm telling you. But now we're going to talk a bit about what's going on across the state, and we, as a trio here, kind of cover three different parts of the Phoenix Valley, Tempe, and out towards where Jay Ray is, and why don't we get started, Walt, with what's happening down in your neck of the woods down there, in your sphere of influence, which is
Right. Okay.
major.
So we've entered into the season of sports, football right down here, ASU, and so there's a lot of activities around the games that are here. There's places where, right, forks up. There's places where a lot of bars and a lot of restaurants that cater with big TVs and everything. You can sit out on patios and have your favorite beverages and meals and things of that nature. On the music scene, going down the road, we have the Chill Room celebrating their second year anniversary, and that'll be happening on the 8th of November. There is a new open mic night that started last night on Mill Avenue, and it'll be on Wednesday nights as well. And it's over at the Dark Star, which used to be Trumbull's on Mill, and I think that's 4th Street, might be Mill and 3rd or something. And they started last night. Their open mic night is more like it's a huge stage, and they have drums and all kinds of. It's almost like what happens at the Dark Side, but in a larger
So
capacity.
is it more kind of a jam than an open mic, or
The part that I saw of it is they were jamming, but there was a lot of different people playing.
Okay.
There was drums, there was guitars, and like I said, it's a huge stage, a huge sound system, and so that's an alternative. And so what I'm thinking is people can be able to sign up at both the open mic night at the TCA and get over there and perform, because it's more like a bar, so they'll carry that all the way up until whenever past the 1 o'clock or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of the close time, but it's closing time. But that's what's up front and happening and new in Tempe right now.
Right on. That was Dark Star, you said?
Yeah, Dark Star is the place. Yeah,
Okay.
not to be
Alright.
confused with Dark Side?
not to be confused with Dark Side. Two different venues,
Yeah.
but not far from each other.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and completely different
Yeah.
Yeah.
in terms of atmosphere, which I like.
Mm. Yeah, for sure.
What's going on in your world over there?
Live, local, and loud in the Valley of the Sun. This weekend is a big weekend. Schniff Farm out in Queen Creek is having their annual fall festival all of October. The Blindsiders are there on Fridays. It's going to be a great event. They have bakery, restaurant, petting zoo, and live music from the Blindsiders, so you don't want to miss that. And Pinell County, out in Florence, they're having their 150th birthday bash this Saturday. Starts at 3 p.m. It's a free event. It's free for everybody. Out on the multipurpose field. It's 174 West 1st Street in Florence. And Sister Hazel is the headliner. And the Blindsiders are opening for them also. There's some other great acts that are out there. 10th and Main will be there playing also on the main stage. And Ruta, oh, I say their name wrong. Ruta Verbena. Oh, I know I'm saying that wrong. But they're on the main stage also, and it's going to be a great event. So y'all can come out there. That is going to be October 4th, Saturday, and it's free out in Florence. Great event. So hopefully we see everybody out there.
Sounds like a fun. Well, over here in the north and in the west, there's a ton. As Walt mentioned, it's we're starting to get into festival season too. So there's a bunch of that. On Friday, October 3rd, Fiddler's Dream is hosting Daniel Pearl World Music Day, and Daniel Pearl was a reporter for the New York Times, you might remember, and met a really unfortunate end with the eyes of the world on him. He was the reporter that was killed in Pakistan, and was also a big music fan, as it turns out. And so there's a day that's been set aside on an international basis to do stuff to help a foundation that was been set up in his name. And I'm going to be playing down there on October 3rd at 7:30. I think some other people are too, to support that cause. But as George and Georgia mentioned, the festival at the North Mountain Visitor Center, which is something that used to happen fairly regularly pre-pandemic, is back this year, and that's over the weekend of the 17th, 18th, I believe some stuff on the 16th of October, and there's going to be just a slew of people that are going to be playing out there, and they've set it up as a benefit for the Save Our Mountains Foundation. And they do a lot of good work out there at North Mountain, so that should be a lot of fun. Of course, the Levine Folk Festival is going to be on the 22nd, I believe, of November. That's a Saturday. 6 stages, lots going on there. I know they've got a wait list going there, and I believe they've added a stage this year. So, given the nature of those festivals, even if you're not signed up for it, a lot of times last minute, someone drops out or whatnot. So it's kind of worth it to get on a wait list if you can. And those are some of the bigger events happening north and west. Of course, Glendale Folk Festival is taking applications right now too. That happens in March. And the Arizona Songwriters Gathering is in January, but they too are, and they might be full, I'm not sure. That's at the Glendale Library. But a slew of people play at that festival as well. So there's just a bunch of things going on. We're blessed.
Yeah, I want to, since you're talking about festivals, the Mesa Music Festival is also, it's in April, but they're taking applications right now till December 15th. So, and that's a big one too out in Mesa. And the Levine are a good friend of ours, not Walt. Walt plays everywhere.
Walt's just someone we know.
I know. A good friend of ours got picked to play at that festival. He's really excited about him. The Matthew Allen Project will be at the Levine Festival this year. He's very excited about that.
I was going to say something about that.
He's one of those guys that we've watched. Walt and I talk about this a lot as being hosts of open mics here. One of the real thrills is watching people progress through their, through their various stages of development, particularly the younger people. And he's one of those folks that we've just kind of watched come up through the ranks and do the work. I mean, that's another thing, the work.
Do the work.
And
Walt,
he's done the work.
Yes, and Walt, you're going to love this, but I've got him locked in for an interview too.
Good.
That is good.
Yeah, because he
is good.
is up and coming, just like you said, and he's put the work in.
I forgot to mention a couple things happening right here in Tempe on the 11th of October. That whole weekend is Oktoberfest at the Tempe Town Lake.
That's big.
A huge amount of talent on. I think there's 2 or 3 different stages, but the main stage just is loaded with a lot of talent. And of
Isn't
course,
Walt Richardson playing there?
yeah, I was going to get to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, he's playing there on Saturday. His set goes from noon to 1:30 over there on the main stage. It just great stuff. Up in Prescott the night before, he's playing at the Fairweather Social Club, which is it's 224 West Cortez Street in Prescott, and he'll be up there with some friends, and it's an outdoor venue, and really, really, really nice, and the people up there are so supportive of music. There's a guitar player that will be with us on that gig. His name is Drew Hall, and he's probably the most known musician, guitarist in that area, because he plays with so many different bands, and he's the one responsible for getting my music back up into Prescott a few years back, and so we'll be on stage with him. Wonderful guy.
Awesome.
And so those are two things I said, how did I forget that?
And you know what? I'm glad you brought up the Oktoberfest, because guess who got third place in the Stein holding competition with 4 peats?
Oh,
I did.
you did.
Wow.
So I will be at Oktoberfest on Sunday getting myself in that competition.
Okay. So what is
Not
this?
musically.
What is that? What does that explain? Stein holding.
We had to hold a stein full of beer, a big glass stein, heavy, full of beer, out like this as long as we could, and whoever's left standing won. I got third place. I didn't even expect to get.
There's still
5
someone there
seconds
from last year holding it up still now.
It probably is.
You know.
It was a lot of fun, though. It's a crazy event. It was a lot of fun,
That
and
sounds
it will
great.
be at Oktoberfest this year. So I'll be there doing that.
Okay. We'll
What
look
do you
forward
think,
to it.
guys? Is that an appropriate note to end on? Or
Yeah,
I think
so.
so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
this has just been a wonderful, wonderful.
It's just like, hold my beer, watch this.
right. You know how that ends
I
in
don't
the
even
emergency
drink.
room. Anyway, this has really been great. Great to learn more about George and Georgia, and
Yeah.
and we get together and do this every week, and it's just been a pleasure. And you guys are just so wonderful to be able to work with on this thing, and we're getting a lot of positive feedback on it, which is great. And if you're interested, you can look at the bottom of the screen and get in touch with Walter and maybe try to figure out a date if it makes sense for you to do one. But we'd love to have you. I'm Glenn Gardner.
I'm Walt Richardson.
I'm Jamie Ray. This is your sound check for Desert Vibes.
Thanks for being here. Peace.